Hello and welcome back. It's an all-new season. We've heard you guys, and now it's finally here. Wolverine Nation, welcome to the very first episode of the 25-26 season. A new season has arrived, and that means it's time for hockey. This year, we're taking things to the next level with a video and audio podcast. We'll be breaking down the teams, discussing the season ahead, and bringing fans closer to the action than ever before. And now, your hosts, Isaac and Parker.
What's up, Wolverine Nation? Thank you, Mr. Michael Cook. I am Isaac Smoldon, and I am joined, as always, in everything I do, by my fantastic color commentator and co-host, Parker Hovila. Parker, how's it going?
What is going on, fellas? It has been another exciting day in the Alaska summer, but the temperature is dropping, and hockey season is just around the corner.
Yeah, we had a really good summer. How's everyone's summer?
Yeah. Busy. I did some traveling.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
Well, I did the Robbie Cup, and then over from the Robbie Cup, I jumped over to Buffalo, New York, and filmed the para ice hockey.
So you just worked more.
I did.
I went to Japan. Everyone.
When you texted
I got
me,
to go to Japan. I did 2 weeks. Yeah.
When you texted me and said I'm in Japan, I just almost dropped the phone. I was like, "This."
I'll show you pictures after we're
son
done
of a-
recording. It's really cool.
It's awesome. It looks.
Parker, you went fishing, but it sounded like you had a fishing incident.
Yeah, I went fishing quite a bit, and then I worked most of the summer. Unfortunately, I did not go. Well, I did go on one trip in June. I went down and played some golf in Phoenix. But a couple weeks back, just out of recovery, was fishing, getting my limit, as any Alaskan would, and ended up hooking myself and just got the bill for that. So
Wait.
Who knew?
Where did you hook yourself?
In my lip.
Yeah, Parker caught himself with a hook.
I just want to make sure I heard that correct.
I caught a 175 pounder that day.
Soaking
of the day.
175 pounds, soaking
Talking
wet.
about a
maybe.
whopping fishing story.
Yeah.
You're not going to believe the
Also-
size of fish I caught today.
Yeah, no, literally. And then went to the urgent care, and the guy was like, "We got two options." He goes, "I can push it through and we can have 2 holes in your face, or we'll tie some string to it and rip it out."
Oh.
Now, I don't know about you guys, when you hear a medical
It's like the most
professional say,
sadistic
"Rip
tooth
it out,"
fairy in the world.
Yeah. So that's the option I went with, because
You went
I
with the
got
rip
face
it
to
out
face.
option?
Are you serious?
yeah, I mean, I can't be getting
You're a
holes in my
sick
face.
puppy.
Wait,
You're a
This is
You're a
the part-time
sick and
moneymaker.
twisted
I can't
individual.
be putting holes in my face.
Wait. He's willing to rip a fish hook out, but he's not willing to shave his mustache on live TV?
I know.
Hey.
You
those
got a
are two
weird
different
sense of
things.
priorities.
Two different things. The hook. Hey, the priorities are always there. But yeah, nonetheless, got this hook ripped out because the barb, it got stuck just right in there like that. And immediately I was like, this is not good.
All right.
And life lesson from that is I should have just ripped it out myself. That bill makes sense.
Yeah, I could have ripped it out I'd do it for less than $1,000 for you.
Ooh.
I'm cutting us off there though, because we got a
That's
lot to
cheaper,
talk
it's
about.
Flying away.
We got a lot to
We
talk
do have
about.
a lot to talk about.
So
Yeah,
we probably have a lot of new folks with us for this year, as with any junior hockey season. A welcome, of course, to all of our parents and fans that have joined us last year and years previous, but I'm sure that we have a lot of new people as well that might be a little curious about the history of the team. So, Parker, I made kind of a sizzle reel of some of the highlights from last year. And last year was really one of the best in the Wolverines history, which is weird to say because 2 out of the 4 years they've made it to the.
I joined that.
Yeah, definitely because you were there. But so 2 out of the 4 years they make the Robbie Cup Final Four, right? But this past season, with the move into the Sullivan, with selling out a playoff game, 6,500 people at a junior hockey game, I mean, this was really a very fun year to follow the Wolverines that we are just, kind of looking at in the rearview mirror now. And it was your first season with the team as a whole. What were your impressions of last season?
Man, it was an unbelievable experience, and I looked back at it for a lot of the summer just because the camaraderie we were all able to build and the experience of just being in that building. And, for all the new fans following along, the Alaska Aces, the old ECHL hockey team that was here, that was the last memories I had of the Sullivan Arena, were at Aces games. So the nostalgia inside that building from going to watch the Aces play there, and now being able to go watch the Wolverines there, it's building memories for younger hockey players who maybe weren't around during those days, and maybe adding that history to all these new fans of knowing kind of the history of that building and what it meant for the Wolverines to make the move over and play on the bigger sheet at the Sullivan Arena, and just the impact it had on this town. I mean, people were coming out of the woodworks to come to games, and it always felt like a sellout crowd from the noise that was in there. My opinion on it is it's the best building in the Knoll.
I mean, easily.
I could tell you that. I could tell you that I've been told that they've sold more season tickets this year than they did last year.
Unreal.
Already before the season started.
That's fantastic to hear. And Isaac, just talking about kind of how we went into last year, there was a lot of things going into the unknown just because it was the first time we were going to be in there, and now we're hitting this year 2 in the Sully just in stride. It feels like a lot more planning involved, and kind of we know what to expect, and we're ready for when those circumstances arise. When last year we'd be like, oh no, what the heck's going on? Now we kind of know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it helps when the team's good, right? That last year's team, 36-17-6 on the year, and their home record was astoundingly good. I mean, I think that they lost 5 or fewer games in regulation at home, if I am remembering correctly. In the playoffs, they only lost 1 game at home.
Looking back, it felt like they didn't lose a game at home until like January. Yeah. Every night we'd be headed to the rink, and it's like, man, they just keep winning.
No, it was bananas. Yeah, I mean, we didn't watch a whole lot of losses in the Sullivan last year, which is great for us because it makes our job way easier. I think big highlight of the season for me is Game 3, Round 1, sellout crowd. You sweep the Fairbanks Ice Dogs in Round 1 of the playoffs. It's the first time those two teams matched up against each other, and no offense to Kenai River, but Anchorage Fairbanks is the biggest in-state rivalry for good reason. You're talking about history, Parker. You think about all the UAA, UAF contests, and for Anchorage fans, you think about how UAF has gotten UAA's has had the vast advantage in that rivalry, but on the junior hockey side, the Wolverines have really been taking it to the Ice Dogs. And even though they dropped the Club 49 Cup last year to Fairbanks, they're right at the end. I don't know how many Fairbanks fans would rather have that versus the playoff advancement that Anchorage had after that first round. And that Game 3, I think, was maybe the high point of the entire year for me.
Yeah, well, the other thing, too, that was interesting about it, Isaac, I know you remember the drive up. You and I driving up to Fairbanks, and we were just talking about the series, and we were like, man, I don't know. We thought it was going to go 5.
No, I think everyone did.
There was no doubt in my mind that I thought we were going to be making 2 trips up to Fairbanks. And the way the Wolverines came out and took 2 up in Fairbanks and then coming back home, and same thing. I mean, when we were driving back, it's like they're going to close this thing out in 3. There's no way they're going to lose at home, especially after the sellout. And the noise in that building during that game was just chaotic.
Yes. Now, unfortunately, we do know how that story ended, which is Anchorage falling to Wisconsin in Game 5 and the winner-take-all series clinching Game 5 at the Sullivan. And that was after a pretty rough trip down to Eagle River, Wisconsin, where the Wendigo no longer played. They made the move this past season to Brookfield, just outside of Milwaukee, but they really stole one in Game 2 to even get back to the Sullivan, only down 2-1. And that Game 4 was huge. That final Game 5 decided by just a goal. I mean, they were about as close as you can be to their 3rd Final Four appearance in the last 4 years, and just fell short to a really, really well-coached and well-constructed Wisconsin Wendigo team.
Yeah, that team, the Wisconsin team, they were so good. And it seemed like the Wolverines had their number all season when they would come to the Sullivan Arena.
Yep.
And they were just neck and neck. They were the 2 top teams out of the Midwest Division. And in my opinion, even though standings didn't look that way, but it just seemed like all season they had each other's number. And Wisconsin, obviously, they got the better of them, but it was just a crazy end to last year, and heartbreaking to say the least, because Anchorage was on quite the Cinderella story at the Sullivan Arena.
Well, the season ended with the Bismarck Bobcats winning their first championship since 2010 against the Lone Star Brahmas. Denied Lone Star back-to-back Robertson Cup champions. But for the Wolverines on an individual level, Cole Christian, Brock Devlin, both named to the Null All-Division team. Brock Devlin named Defenseman of the Year for the Null. Maybe just a little bit about Cole, Parker. I got to watch him for 2 years. You've watched him just this past season. But this past season, he added such a key scoring touch to the Wolverines up front that completely changed the way that they were able to approach the power play, approach line matching, approach just dominating in the offensive zone. I mean, he was absolutely incredible down the stretch for them.
Yeah, that line that was put together near the end of Gensler, Christian, and Ushio, that was some of the most exhilarating and exciting hockey. Every time they got on the ice, you thought they were going to score, and that's going to be something I'm going to miss watching this year, is watching Cole Christian pick that puck up and rush up ice, and just the way he was able to use his edges to escape different players, because he wasn't the tallest guy out there, but his scoring ability and just his hockey sense, really it'll be something that I'll miss being able to watch. And
I'm going to miss interviews
at the Air Force Academy, and I'm sure. Huh?
I'm going to miss interviews with Cole Christian the most. I mean,
we could replace
the Cole Christian interviews too.
Truly one of the best.
Those were so good. There's not another Cole Christian out there.
No, Brock Devlin, Defenseman of the Year. And this is a guy that, Parker, if you had been able to watch him the last 2 years, the transformation that he made, he always had that scoring touch, but the ability to not only pot just an absurd amount of points for the Wolverines last year, but the defensive responsibility that he added to his game. I think he was by far and away the most improved player from the Wolverines last year. And really the unfortunate thing is that even though he's going to go play Division I hockey now, they lost him a year before his eligibility technically ended.
Yeah, and that was unfortunate. You know, great for Brock. And when just to touch on even his season last year, you know, at the beginning of the year, he was taking a lot of minor penalties, you know, retaliatory penalties. And, you know, a switch flipped for him halfway through that season, working on that. And he was just able to stay out of it. And, you know, it was something that was so awesome to watch. Just how you talked about watching him for 2 years, even just seeing his improvement in one season, the scoring touch and the ability to just take possession of the puck and rush up ice, and also get on his horse and get back and defend. It was incredible to watch, and it'll be something I'll miss.
Well, one last fact about all the Alaska teams for this year is interesting. All three of them will have a new bench boss going into the 2025-2026 season. Although the Wolverines bench boss is not someone altogether unfamiliar to the organization. So without any further ado, let's get introduced, or rather reintroduced, for your head coach of the 25-26 season, Mr. Mike Aikens. All right, this person led the Anchorage Wolverines to a regular season record of 33-19-8 in their inaugural season before storming through the Midwest Division playoffs all the way to a Robertson Cup Finals appearance. After spending the last 3 years coaching in the NCAA, he has returned to be the bench boss for your Wolverines in their 5th season. He is also the star of the hit film Hockey Town. Please welcome to the show, Head Coach Mike Aikens.
Yay.
Great to be back, guys. Good to see you.
It's very good to see you as well, Coach. I'm sure that you've been asked this plenty by the league and every other interview, but is it good to be back? You excited to be back in Anchorage for this season?
Yeah, it felt like coming home. It's interesting, some of my spots, like I had to really kind of think like how to get around again. It's amazing, after basically 3.5 years of being gone, how I kind of forgot my way around. So it's coming back to me. It's nice to be in Sullivan Arena. That's going to be fun. I can't wait to coach in there.
So you were separated from the team for 3 years. You're back now. How much Wolverines hockey have you watched in the last couple of years, and what stood out to you over the last couple of seasons?
Well, I've watched quite a bit because basically our games would get done. I would cut video in college, and then I'd be like, well, man, if I just hang out in the office another half hour, the Wolverines were on. Unfortunately, there's a 4 hour difference where where I was, so it was the middle of the night a lot of times when I got home. But I saw quite a few games. It's been fun to watch. It's been fun to see what the guys have been able to do, and that second season, Trumper taking over, and then Nick seeing what he's done the last couple of years. It was fun to see the transition, and then the transition into Sullivan Arena, and to see big crowds in there, and it was fun to watch.
Coach, one question I had for you was kind of what are some of the differences, so to speak, from the first season and levels of the unknown you were going through compared to going into this season now? The team's been established for a few years, it's had a great record. Kind of what's the different, is the approach the same coming into this season as it was the first year, or do you have different expectations now that the franchise is more established?
Well, I think there definitely has to be higher, different expectations. I think we're going to be expected to win right away. That first year, people were telling me how bad our roster was, and we had players that couldn't play in the league, and blah blah blah. And I was like, holy cow! I don't want to come up here and get embarrassed, but we wanted to be competitive that first year, and obviously we were more than that. We were in third place a lot of the regular season. We took a little slide there, probably 3/4 of the way through, and then we finished up. We won 7 out of our 10 to get in the playoffs. Now I think the expectations certainly have risen. The success they've had. We made to the Robertson Cup the first year, lose the championship game. The third year they make it back to the Robbie Cup, and then last year they were 1 game away. So this organization is going to be expected to be good. There's challenges there. We don't have very many returning players. I think technically in a normal situation, this might be considered like a rebuilding year and whatever, but I don't really feel like we're going to have that luxury. And, I expect us to be pretty good right away. I think the scouting staff and Merritt, Keith Morris, the guys, Taylor Gay has done an unbelievable job of building this team. It's a little bit different when I got hired earlier. So Keith had kind of had the guts of the team, and then I was still able to bring in, some guys that I had found that ended up being good players for us. This year, being hired so late, I really stayed out of it. I stayed back, and I didn't want to step on any toes, and I let the staff bring their guys into tryout camp. And I only found a couple guys here down the stretch, and so I was happy with tryout camp in Minnesota in July, and now we're in the start of training camp. We have 20 forwards here. We have 12 D and 4 goalies, so we'll whittle it down from there.
Coach, I want to talk about this upcoming season in the future. I have one more question about the past, because I think a lot of interviews I've seen from you so far, everyone is very focused on where this team has gone since your departure. I'm a little bit curious about your 3 years that you were still coaching in the NCAA. What happened in the course of those 3 years for you that has prepared you to come back here for the 5th year of the team's existence?
Well, I think going to college hockey, it's a lot of detail, a lot of video work, and preparation, video breakdown, and things happen quickly. The way the ECAC works, the league I was in, you typically have a different opponent Friday and Saturday night. So you prepare for Friday, and then you've got to break down that game, and then have a pre-scout ready the next morning for the next opponent. So I think it was all a great learning experience for me. It was certainly great for my family. We got 5 years of education paid for my girls. And interesting enough, I leave St. Lawrence, and Maren, my older daughter, who graduated from Augsburg College, is going to St. Lawrence right now as the graduate assistant golf coach. So she gets her master's paid for, and she's loving it out there. And it sounds like she's doing an unbelievable job. So we're really excited for Maren. Brianna's got 2 more years at Adrian College in Michigan, and she played soccer. So, yeah, I think I hope to be a better coach, than when I left here. And, I think that remains to be seen yet, but we'll see how that goes.
I think
it certainly has its challenges coming back, but we're excited to be here. And like I said, I think, from my experiences going through, seeing good, seeing bad, and learning things even from other teams. And, I think at the college level, guys are pretty willing to share information. I sat down with the coaches at Western Michigan. I sat down with the coaches at the University of Minnesota, and it's amazing. Even the head coaches are willing to come in and spend time and talk about systems things, and they're really willing to share information. And so, I think all that stuff is hopefully going to impact our season here this year.
I mean, I'm a true believer in things happen for a reason. And the way I look at this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I look at this is you left, you got yourself into the NCAA, you met a lot of great people there. Now you've got this network. So when players are coming up, you can easily call those colleges up and say, hey, I got someone for you.
Yeah, I definitely think, with the landscape changing to junior hockey right now, and it's the Canadian Hockey League opening up their options for players to go to the NCAA route, is it's going to make it tougher for our players and players in the North American Hockey League all across the board to get Division I opportunities. So I think the coaches that have some connections and know a lot of people that way is certainly going to help. And I think I've met a lot of people. I knew a lot of people before in the hockey world, but now I even know more. And so I definitely think that'll help our players as well.
Let's talk a little bit about this upcoming season. You're right in the middle of training camp, and I want to give Parker the chance to ask about kind of his take on us getting ready for this season. But I think the easy question that I'll go to first when it comes to training camp, and you already talked a little bit about tryouts, who or what is impressing you about this year's team here kind of before the season?
I think it's a little early to start talking about individual players, but I will tell you, like walking out of the tryout camp in Minnesota, I felt like there's a good, solid base of guys there. I think the staff, like I said, did a great job of finding good players for us. And now in training camp, I think you whittled it down from what you saw at the tryout camp. Now you're at training camp, and we'll get that whittled down as we go along too. We've got 2 exhibition games next weekend, and I think at that point is probably where we'll start to make a couple cuts. But I think camp, I think we've got a good mixture. We've got some size. I think we have some toughness, and I think we have guys that are going to compete hard and get after it. But I also think there's a nice mixture of skill there too. So, I think you can't build a hockey team all and have all the same type of players. So I think we've got a nice mix that way, and now it's just finding the right guys.
That is one thing I have been hearing is we got some tall guys.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw last season at the Sullivan, Mike, but I think if there's one thing this crowd likes, it's some big corn-fed guys that aren't afraid to maybe mix it up a little bit on the ice.
Yeah, I think we're going to have some of those guys, and
man, it's exciting.
And I think even some of our small guys are going to not be afraid to get the gloves off either, and they have to. But we want to play a skilled hockey game, and if we need to stand up and protect each other and stand up for each other, I think we'll have guys that do that. We want to be able to score goals, and I just want us to compete hard every night and play the game the right way. Coach,
I had one more question, kind of from your point of view. You're looking back at the kind of the recruitment process. You talked about the 2 different camps, and now the guys are here at training camp. Kind of, how does your focus have to change going from recruitment for NCAA college ready guys compared to the junior hockey ranks?
Well, you're not going to get a finished product, that's for sure. So to me, I'm looking for guys that are high character. We always want guys that have a high skill level. The guys that are high skilled, they have to have compete to them. We don't want just perimeter soft skill. It's got to be hard skill. And like I said, a mixture to build a team. We laugh about it. It's like building a house. You couldn't build a house with 20 plumbers. I mean, it's have a good hockey team with 20 guys that are just going to muck and grind. So, you got to have some guys that can do a little bit of everything. And then you got to get those guys working together, and you got to get them believing in each other and playing hard for each other. And, that's all part of the process. We were able, that first year I was here, at some point we were able to just kind of step back and let the guys go And, that's the goal. And sometimes it happens sooner than later. You hope it's going to happen. And, that's what we're working towards.
So like you said, Coach, these inter-squad games, they're free to the public. So definitely be there. You're going to get a great experience. Some still high-level hockey, even for it being an inter-squad game. Before we let you go, what should fans that are attending these games be looking for and expect to see out of these two competitions?
Well, people are fighting for roster spots now and fighting for spots in the lineup. So I would expect our guys are going to be competing hard. It's guys on the same team, but at this point, there's going to be two different teams on the ice in those games this weekend, and we expect them to play hard against each other. And we've had some big hits and people playing hard in practice the way it is right now, and I would expect that to carry over the weekend and maybe even notch it up a bit when we get some more people in the building.
Head Coach Mike Aikens, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you this weekend.
All right, thanks, boys.
Thank you so very much, Coach Aikens. Very excited to have him back on the bench. Very excited to be able to talk and work with him again. Parker, I'm excited for you to get to hang out with Coach Aikens on the road and get to learn more about our esteemed head coach. Such a breadth of knowledge and kind of like, to your point, Mike, the ability for him to already take that incredible network that he had with all his years coaching and then just to add to it with 3 years of NCAA hockey. Very excited, very happy to have him back this season. Well, the next thing that we have coming up for the Wolverines are the inter-squad games like we were talking about at the Sullivan Arena this Friday and Saturday. And these can be a lot of fun, not only because you get to see a lot of new players, get introduced to guys, but also it gets pretty competitive because all those guys are out there competing for a roster spot.
I always like these inter-squad games, too, because these guys are going out there and going to war. And then next week, they're going to be sitting next to each other in a locker room.
Yeah.
A vast majority of them are. And that's the beauty of junior hockey. And just really any competitive hockey in general is you're going out to battle against these guys who are, 90% of them are going to be your teammates, but 10% of them are going home.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the cool thing for me this year is with it being at the Sullivan too. In years past, you've had it at Subway, and then the team is playing at Ben Boeke. But I am hoping that because the event is free, it is going to give folks the chance to get back into the rink, get a decent crowd there, and make that a really competitive environment. I think one of the biggest successes last year for not just the team and the organization, but just the city of Anchorage and the fans was the Sullivan Arena was a impossible place to play in if you were a road team. I mean, there is just not in junior hockey, you're not exposed to an environment like that. Mm-hmm. And for these guys that are competing for a roster spot right now, you really want to get them in that environment, get them used to that, give them a taste of that and see how they feed off that energy, see what they do with that energy, how they translate that into their game on the ice.
Yeah. And kind of a little shift of subject, though, but past players. So Ushio is now committed to UAF, but he's playing in the BCHL for 1 year before going.
Yep.
So we won't get to see Ushio this year. And then did you see Shane Soderwall at the...
Yeah, he's in the Utah Mammoth system now.
Are you serious?
I lost to that kid 6-1 in the Rochester when he was playing for Rochester when he was 16 and I was an age out. Just dummied our team. I think head coach Mike Aikens might have been on the bench for that game too.
What?
I can't remember now, but Shane was in net, and now he's in the Utah Mammoth system.
It was funny because I was watching this video that's posted.
I did not score, Parker. Would that surprise you?
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate, Isaac, but I wasn't guessing you did.
Big stay-at-home D-man.
I mean, it caught me by surprise because I see, Wolverines on their Facebook page. Go check it out. It's on the Facebook page. They show a video of the Utah Mammoth, and I'm like, why are they posting the Mammoth? And then all of a sudden, I'm Shane Soderwall, and I was like, what? So
Shaner.
Cool.
No, he said he was Shaner.
That's
nickname.
Right.
Parker Tolles, too, is not going to be there anymore. I mean, just like head coach Mike Aikens said, you don't have a lot of returners coming back to this roster.
No, I mean, you saw the Wolverines reposted it, I believe it was today, of his name being on the Fargo Force training camp roster. Hopefully he sticks up there. But hey, if he doesn't and he comes back to Anchorage, I mean, I'm sure a lot of fans would be happy about that. His scoreability, just able to make plays. He would be a valuable asset coming back. But most likely, I bet he will stick up there. And good for him. It's the next step.
Yeah, and that's the thing about junior hockey, right? Is you want these guys to be here. You want Brock Devlin to not be playing Division I college hockey this year, right? But ultimately, you are rooting for them individually to go make that next step in their development, go play at the highest level that they can. If they happen to come back, you're not going to be too upset about that either, right? But good for all those guys. A lot of guys moving up, a lot of guys playing college hockey from last year's team. And kind of like we were talking about with Aikes, the I think comforting thing for Wolverines fans and for the organization is, this is a head coach that took a roster full of NA3 guys and first year junior players, but then also just like vets that everyone else had cast off and made a run to the Robertson Cup championship game. So, if anyone's able to rebuild, retool, and have still a really competitive, high-quality team, it's going to be this organization this year.
And speaking of coach, I know he's probably going to watch. Sam Grammy Dangles, we miss you. We miss you.
The graham cracker.
He was supposed to play on my men's league team.
I know.
Year. I was so bummed.
I know. Yeah. Congrats to one of the most unique, and that is absolutely a compliment, coaches that I've ever got to work with, and old Grammy Dangles. We are going to miss Sam a ton this year. But I found
out the day before he was supposed to get here. I called him on the phone. I said, "When you coming in?" And he said, "I'm coming in Saturday." I was at the rink Friday, and I was like, "Oh, sweet! I get to see Sam." And they're like, "You didn't hear?" And I was like, "What?" He goes, "He's not coming." So I called him up. I said, "You weren't going to tell me?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, man." So we had a conversation. But I did talk to Coach Aikens, and he actually has already been making tons of calls. He is actively searching for an assistant coach, so we shall be seeing somebody very, very soon.
I'm sure. I'm excited.
I was able to shoot Sam a text and congratulate him. I'll miss the funny one-liners he would throw at Isaac and I. We'd get finished with a pregame interview, and he'd just look back and he'd go, "Hey, proud of you guys.
Proud of you. I'm proud of you, Sam.
Hey, proud of you." And now we get to hit Sam with a "Hey, proud of you, moving up."
Hey, Sam. Proud of you.
Maybe we just keep that in there, at the end of the your broadcast.
Parker, Friday, we're gonna be together. Mike, you can watch on Facebook and YouTube, the Anchorage Wolverines YouTube. So make sure that those are going to be completely free games. You really should be there in person, but if you're not local to the area, watch the broadcast on Facebook and YouTube. Parker's going to be doing some play-by-play. I'm going to be shaking the rust off. I'm also going to be potentially the in-rink PA guy, which I haven't done since
last year.
Well,
no way, no Bob.
We haven't confirmed it yet.
Not confirmed. But I'm kind of hoping he doesn't.
Father.
I'm kind of hoping he doesn't show up, just so that I can get to practice my in-rink entertainment skills.
Yeah. But you'll be reading comments because YouTube has comments and stuff like that.
No one belts the pregame disclaimer quite like me, though. I mean, I
read
that thing flawlessly.
Oh,
you can read that if you want. I'll just do the goal announcing.
Gladly, I'll do it.
Facebook and YouTube has a very robust comment feature, so definitely hit us up in the chat or live at AnchorageWolverines.com, LIVE at AnchorageWolverines.com. We're super excited to be able to talk with you all during those games. Of course, give a little hit to the subscribe button, a little like, a little ding, whatever you got to do. Leave a review. Let us know what you want to see more of. That is all the time we have for today. Michael Cook, lead us out.
Let's go. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. This has been Wolverine Nation. It's recorded live in my house Youth Drop-In Center studio here in Wasilla, the beautiful Wasilla. Always joined by the wonderful Isaac Smoldon and Parker Hovila. Until next time, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click those notifications so you know every time we drop an episode. And we'll see you at the rink.